Now at midday, an accused cop killer held without bond, the multinational effort to get him in custody. And the Homeland Security Secretary visiting Texas today, where he's expected to stop and the reason behind the visit. Your KRHD News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is KRHD News Midday.
Thanks for joining us here at Midday. I'm Paige Ellenberger. The man accused of shooting and killing a Harris County Precinct 5 constable's corporal in an ambush over the weekend will remain in jail after a judge ruled to not set a bond. Oscar Rosales went before a judge Wednesday night after his arrival to Houston. Rosales was taken into custody Wednesday morning at a hotel in Mexico, according to U.S. Marshal Deputy Cameron Welch. And the man who federal agents say sold a gun to the Texas synagogue hostage taker is now in jail. 32-year-old Henry Williams made his first appearance in federal court in Dallas on Wednesday. He's charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. According to a criminal complaint, Williams admitted selling Malik Fasil Akram a handgun on January 13th for $150. Just 2 days later, Akram took 4 hostages at a Jewish synagogue near Fort Worth. Williams told authorities that Akram told him he wanted to try and get money from someone who owed him. The leader of the Oath Keepers, accused of trying to overthrow the 2020 presidential election, will remain in jail until his trial later this year. That's the ruling from a Texas magistrate judge. In a statement, the judge says Stewart Rhodes has continued his, quote, advocacy for violence against the federal government. Rhodes has pled not guilty. And happening today, Governor Greg Abbott will be joined by attorneys general from other states at the border for a security briefing. The briefing will be at the DPS headquarters this afternoon. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will be there, as well as attorneys general from Alaska, Florida, Oklahoma, and 10 other states. The Texas DPS director will also speak. And the Department of Homeland Security Secretary is visiting Texas, too, for briefings on border operations in El Paso and Laredo. The Secretary will be in El Paso today and then travel to Laredo tomorrow. The visits come as the Biden administration is under fire from conservatives and immigrant rights groups over his handling of the border and asylum policies. Switching gears now, let's get a check on our weather with meteorologist Josh Johns.
Yeah, and the latest drought monitor came out here just recently, and unfortunately it continues to get worse here across the Brazos Valley. Still have moderate drought in place across a large portion of the Brazos Valley, but notice severe drought not far away over towards the I-35 corridor. So we need rain, and luckily we have some rain chances. There's none out there on radar right now, and today should be a dry one. Though we do have a cold front that's going to sweep through later on tonight, and with the cloud cover moving in, it is possible we see a few sprinkles later on tonight, but overall, I think we're going to end up dry with this one. Sunshine out there right now on the Extra Co, Eagle Eye, and Bryan College Station. Temperature at 50. It feels like 50 with humidity at 50%. Winds are on the calm side currently, 49 in Bryan, 50 in College Station. A few areas trying to climb up above 50, 51 now in Brenham. And we have calm winds currently, but they will be shifting around the north later on as we head into the afternoon and into the evening hours. That cloud cover will work in, and again, we may squeeze out a sprinkler or two overnight. That should dry out by morning, though. We'll have sunshine coming up for your Friday, and Friday will be a cooler day with the cool air that's working in behind that front. We'll see temperatures hanging around in the 50s. Watch what happens on Saturday, though. After a chilly morning with temperatures near freezing, we will get that southwest wind pumping up. That southwest wind brings temperatures back to near 70 for the weekend with plenty of sunshine. So this system gets out of the way. Our next one, this one's going to bring us rain chances. We'll roll in coming up on Monday. This looks like a pretty good shot of rain, about a 50 to 60% chance, and there could be some heavy rain within it. So some good news there with that system that's coming across on Monday. Heaviest rain may fall a little closer to Houston, but still it's going to bring us at least the potential for maybe up to an inch of rain, which is the rain we need. Then we get into Thursday. This is what we'll have to watch. Our next cold front that comes in Wednesday into Thursday, there's going to be a lot of cold air with it. There may be a little moisture, and models are at least showing the chance that maybe some of this turns into something other than rain. Right now, it is far too early to tell you about it. If anyone else is saying they can, then they're wrong. It's far too early to tell you about it, and we'll keep you posted on it as we go through the weekend and that develops. Upper 50s, lower 60s today. Tonight, dipping down to the 30s and the 40s, and as you look at that 10-day forecast, we'll call for 60 today, 56 tomorrow, 66 on Saturday, 59 on Monday. Look at that next cold front, though. Behind it, we're definitely getting cold down to the 40s.
All eyes on Russia after the U.S. sent a letter to Moscow responding to its demands. Russia doesn't want Ukraine to be able to join NATO. The Biden administration says it's now up to Russia to decide if there is a diplomatic way to ease the tensions along the Ukrainian border.
Whether they choose the path of diplomacy and dialogue, whether they decide to renew aggression against Ukraine, we're prepared either way.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the specific details of the letter will not be made public. However, Blinken said there has been no change in the administration's position that allows countries to join NATO's alliance. Certain healthcare workers in many states will need to get their first COVID vaccine by today if they want to keep their jobs. It's part of a federal COVID vaccine mandate. The requirement applies to healthcare workers at facilities that participate in federal Medicare or Medicaid programs. The mandate will cover about 10.4 million healthcare workers. While the requirement is welcomed by some, others fear it will make staffing shortages worse if employees quit rather than comply. A list of frontrunners to replace retiring Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is emerging. President Joe Biden promised to nominate a black woman to the court if given the chance. Now, Ketanji Brown Jackson is widely seen as the frontrunner. She was most recently confirmed to the second most powerful court in the nation. Meanwhile, President Biden will hold an event at the White House today to formally announce the retirement of Justice Breyer. The 83-year-old is the oldest and most senior liberal justice. Breyer was appointed to the bench in 1994 by then-President Bill Clinton. His retirement will not change the 6-3 conservative majority on the High Court. Breyer is expected to stay on the bench until the end of the court term this June.
We are told change is the only constant, and if that's true, then adaptation must be the only way forward.
It's not that same hustle and bustle as it was, this time 2 years ago.
It's 7:30 on a Thursday morning at one of the busiest subway stops in Manhattan, and for a city that supposedly never sleeps, things are drowsy.
People escaped, moved out. It changed a lot. Normally my commute in the morning is just under 25 minutes or so on the subway, door to door.
This is Andrew Weinstein.
8 seconds from my bed to my desk, yes.
He's one of the millions in New York that has traded a commute to his office for a commute to his desk. At the start of the pandemic, subway ridership in New York fell by 92% according to the city. And today, it has only recovered to 40% of its pre-pandemic levels. But it's not just here. In our nation's capital, the daytime population fell 82% between February 2020 and February 2021. In San Jose, office occupancy is only at 20% of what it used to be. And in Chicago, that number is only 24%. It has meant fewer people, less money, less business.
It is different.
Andrea Saleccia manages a coffee shop near Rockefeller Center. He's cut staff, changed hours, and still struggles. But it's a win, considering he's the only shop in his high-rises lobby that's still running.
It's not for the New York regulations anymore, it's for the company's regulation. Pretty much it killed the business because, we used to have over 600 people a day in this store, and now we barely reach 100 if it's a good day.
To adapt, cities have suggested getting creative with zoning laws to reduce things like parking and change them into pedestrian zones. They've also considered embracing things like outdoor dining to promote cultural experiences. In Madison, Wisconsin, that's happening as the city is working to expand outdoor dining further. And Eugene, Oregon is building a 3.5-acre park that will permanently house its farmers market. Things that are a far cry from the point A to point B hustle of the past.
Researchers at the Stanford History Education Group completed a national survey of more than 3,000 American high schoolers looking at how they evaluate real sources online.
It's the largest study to date of its kind.
Joel Breakstone heads the Stanford group and has been studying news literacy among high schoolers for the past 6 years. He says they found that students struggle to make even basic evaluations about the validity of online information.
Students had trouble. For instance, when we presented students with a website that denied humans' role in global warming.
CO2 emissions and fossil fuel use have actually enhanced life.
Breakstone says 96% of the students could not identify that the website actually had connections to the fossil fuel industry. Information that he says was immediately available through simple online searches.
Similarly, when we showed them a Facebook video claiming to show voter fraud during the 2016 presidential Democratic primaries, they overwhelmingly took it at face value. Again,
a quick Google search, he says, would have led them to a whole series of articles debunking the video, including one from the BBC indicating the video that was viewed more than 1 million times was actually about voter fraud in Russia and had nothing to do with fraud in the U.S.
Out of more than 3,000 students, only 3, less than 0.1%, made that connection to the Russian source for the videos.
Researchers also compared how Stanford freshmen, young people in Silicon Valley, and history professors stacked up against fact-checkers from some of the nation's leading news organizations, and found striking differences in how well they evaluated unfamiliar websites.
The fact-checkers were way better than the Stanford students or the historians, and the reason was that they didn't stay on an unfamiliar website.
While Breakstone isn't saying everyone must become a professional fact-checker, he does say that critical thinking and cross-referencing are key to being better informed.
We think in our current digital age, being able to find good information online is a critical component of being a participating member in our democracy.
A revolutionary product is giving farmers more time and money while also providing a sustainable solution to help the environment. Climate experts say this sustainability is vital to the health of the planet.
Jorgen L. Hansen, so that would be my great-great-grandpa.
Dan Hansen is a farmer in southwest Iowa. He primarily grows corn and soybeans. His family has been farming for many decades, and he's hoping his sons will continue the tradition.
I'm a fifth-generation farmer. To be able to pass this on to my children and pass the land on and leave it better than it was, to me, we have to be economically sustainable as well as environmentally sustainable for that to happen.
In his quest to be a more sustainable and productive farmer, Dan came across Pivot Bio. Karsten Temme is the CEO.
Pivot Bio is a company that is here to serve the farmers that make agriculture work by delivering nitrogen to their crops in a better way.
Nitrogen plays a critical role in plant growth. However, nitrogen fertilizer can be harmful to the environment.
About half of the nitrogen fertilizer that gets applied to fields is lost to the environment before the crop can capture it.
Despite nitrogen fertilizer being essential for crop production, it can easily dissolve in water once it's applied to farm soils.
Rebecca Boehm is the senior economist for the Food and Environment Program with the Union of Concerned Scientists. She says nitrogen fertilizer can easily enter waterways, causing billions of dollars of damage to marine habitat and fisheries.
There's a large area in the Gulf of Mexico that has little to no oxygen in it. And so in this area, plant and sea life are harmed or killed as a result of the dead zone.
She says the nitrogen fertilizer also reacts with soil, creating a harmful greenhouse gas.
It's really no laughing matter because it's 300 times more potent than 1 molecule of carbon dioxide. And it also stays in the atmosphere for over 100 years. So this does significantly contribute to climate change.
Knowing this, Dan says he was thrilled to learn about Pivot Bio's biological nitrogen fertilizer. He says not only is it better for the environment, but it also saves him time and money because he doesn't have to apply nitrogen to his crops later in the season.
It's the first of its kind microbe that can generate nitrogen from the atmosphere and produce it and provide a daily source of nitrogen for that corn plant.
Rebecca says there are additional methods that can help farmers to be more responsible with nitrogen, like covering bare land with other crops during the off-season.
You don't harvest the cover crop, you plant it, and it keeps essentially the soil in place instead of having just a bare field. When you have a bare field with no plants or any residue on top of it, that's when nitrogen can leave the soil and enter the water.
Another sustainable practice is having what's called prairie or buffer strips that are filled with native plants that attract pollinators. Prairie strips also prevent nitrogen from getting into the water supply. Dan says he's trying to pass on what he's learned to other farmers because it's improved his bottom line. At the end of the day, he says there's enough stress that comes with farming, and sustainable solutions give him hope that he's setting up his sons for success in the future.
It's a very risky business. We don't need to come out west and go to Vegas because we're gambling every day.
With photojournalist Luis Ramirez, I'm Elizabeth Ruiz reporting.
And we're talking about a nicer day out there today, close to 60, but the clouds will be increasing. This is ahead of a cold front, but at least near normal temperatures. Behind it, though, we'll get into the 30s and the 40s coming up as we get into tomorrow morning. Now, the 10-day forecast will show you a really nice weekend in place. 66 for your Saturday. You look at Sunday, we're close to 70. Then we bring in some really good rain chances on Monday. Monday could be a wet day. We get into Wednesday, that's when that next front arrives, bringing in the chance for showers and thunderstorms, cold air that may mix with some of that moisture, and regardless, looks like we're getting cold. Temperatures in the 40s to round out the week.
Not giving credit when credit is due has led to some of the biggest battles in music history, and a public faux pas has reignited debates on social media about songwriting credits. On Monday, musician Damon Albarn of the bands Blur and Gorillaz publicly apologized to pop star Taylor Swift after claiming the singer-songwriter didn't write her own songs. It was a big slight to Swift, who takes major pride in her songwriting and has been credited as songwriter and co-writer for all 11 of her albums. But to Albarn's point about the prevalence of co-writing in pop music now, solo singer-songwriters are pretty rare these days. Since 2017, none of the top 10 streamed tracks in the US were written and sung by the same person. And according to Rolling Stone, the last solo written song to make the top charts was 21 Pilots' Stressed Out by frontman Tyler Joseph. That song came out in 2016. Most stars, including Taylor Swift, co-write with other songwriters and share the credit. Swift has even written tracks for artists like Miley Cyrus and co-wrote songs with DJ Calvin Harris, country music star Kelly Pickler, and even Broadway's Andrew Lloyd Webber.
If you can't get T.S. Eliot, like, get T.S.
I love
Our focus is to share the transforming love and forgiveness of Jesus Christ with inmates and their families.
Transforming lives while in prison. That's the goal for this faith-based organization. The prison ministry and its volunteers are on a mission to show the power of love and forgiveness to people behind bars. During their visits with inmates, they pray and even bring them batches of cookies. They say it's making an impact and plays a big role in helping inmates stay out of trouble once they are released.
We help them to see the bigger picture. If you understand that you have value, that your life has a purpose, and that you are someone that's worthwhile, that has a purpose and a destiny, then you become a contributor to society.
The energy from the moment I walked into the room where men would actually come in and sit down and eat prison food with us, or spend all day with us, it stood out to me that they must really care.
I try to give them hope because I know at that point in my life, I really did consider going back.
The owners of a trucking company are helping former inmates get back on their feet. Marcus and Angela Little own Triple Vision Logistics. They hire felons, giving them a second chance. They say they enjoy assisting others who might need that extra help.
It just excites me to be able to inspire or help build up another household, just teaching them more of generational wealth, being independent, being your own boss.
Their business pays drivers well, about $100,000 a year.